So I'm doing all right, just trying to fix my camera here and keeps trying to. I don't know what it's trying to do. There you go. All right, I'm not gonna touch it though.
All right, I'm also so yeah, that was Dude Guys. I'm also joined by Alpaca Jesus, so or Bryan. So Bryan, tell us about yourself.
Hey. Hi, I play for Yami, and yeah, I was invited here, and yeah, just call me Bryan. Alpaca is kind of my father's name, so just call me Bryan.
And I'm also joined by Blake. How's it going? Or BlackSword2D.
Or Black. I'm the one of many names. Hello, everyone. I go by Black, co-leader of the infamous Black and Spoon tournament series with Spoon. Pretty much wherever Spoon goes, you'll see me lurking in the shadows.
So other than that, dude, where can we find you? What's your backstory? What teams have you been on? I know it's a long journey, from the beginning of Splatoon, but give us a brief recap here.
So, of course, I mean, I didn't do this and stuff, but yes, I am the ThatSRB2Dude. I'm the owner of a YouTube channel known as ThatSRB2Dude. I also have a Twitch channel, also known as ThatSRB2Dude. And as ThatSRB2Dude, I feel like I'm just slaying myself out, I'm sorry, but what's it called? Yeah, I've been on many teams. I've been on teams known as Squid Squad / Team Paradise, very, very old team, rest in peace. And also been on a very successful team known as Chimera, which is somewhat of a split now, which is known as Synergy and Olive. So Synergy being the US team and Olive being the EU team. There you go.
And you, Bryan, so how about your career of Splatoon?
Oh my, it's quite wild. Well, I first started out in since the beginning of Splatoon. I was pretty low key. I was on if you remember, only 90s kids probably remember this, but Inkopolis Underground. If you've heard of that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard.
We all know IU.
Rest in peace. And then there's Technical Difficulties, which was my earlier years, and then that's dead now. And then you move on to Dinos, which is a short-lived kind of squad, which eventually became Reverse Rebirth with which I was with Silver on that one, and now we're at Yami. Well, I was on Unknown for a little while too. I've been on a lot of teams, so Yami's my go-to place though. So.
Yep. So that's good. So since we have Dude on the cast, I figured we'd talk a little bit about the ESL that just happened, because Dude was there in person. So we'll recap a little bit about how we felt about the stream ourselves, but how was it like being there, Dude? In a place that I would say has a very high production value from anything else we've had, right? So tell us a little bit about the event. How was ESL, the company themselves?
A lot of good words I can say about ESL. Going there, I feel like they treat you like royalty, considering that they had paid for our flights, had paid for all our travel, had paid for a hotel and stuff like that. Even though the hotel was near, but I mean, it was a great time because it's just you get sent to the ESL studios, which is amazing, honestly. I mean, it's not the biggest place, but it's pretty cool. Inside there, first going in there, you just have this. I mean, you have the ESL sign, and then you have this huge hall. Well, not the biggest hall, but it's a hall, and it leads right to the stage, and it's just like this huge, like really really nice. I don't know how you call it. I guess display of the setups with the Wii U and the Nintendo Switch and stuff like that.
Okay.
It blew me away. First of all, it was just like, wow, damn, this is actually real. Like, damn,
Yeah.
Splatoon made it.
Would you say it's like the first time you felt that it was like really esports in a way?
Somewhat. I mean, I guess the thing that would have made it like, make it feel like, yo, we've made it, like, seriously, was, I guess, the spectator viewpoint. I mean, there was like, I don't know, like three rows of chairs here, 3 rows of chairs here. There was like 80 or 100 people inside the audience. I didn't go and count, but I felt like if it was like a thing where you had this huge spectator viewpoint, then maybe it would have that better, like, feeling of, esports, But, it was still great. Anyways, like, I can talk about, I guess, playing as well. Playing in that environment is amazing. Like, it feels really good. And this is one thing that you don't really see on the stream as well, is that when somebody makes a good play, or what a play is like.
Yeah, obviously.
yeah. But when somebody makes a play, you just have the crowd just like, because they saw everything as it happened. So it's just like, yo, I made that play.
It's true. But it's true. They don't show that. Like, we didn't see that on the stream itself. Like, they didn't show any people, like, cheering or anything, which, like, you normally see at, like, the LAN events. We didn't see any of that. All we heard was the casters themselves. It would have been really cool to hear the actual audience cheer when, like, good plays happened.
Yeah. Like, the feeling of that, it was just, it feels great. I mean, I guess how it was set up, unfortunately, we didn't have voice communication, because, I mean, they had the headsets there, but for some reason on the day, it didn't work. So what we had to do is basically scream at each other, just say, yo, Soren, there's one left!
With, like, headphones on, and, like, are the headphones, do they, like, block out noise as well, so you're, like, screaming at someone?
Yeah. I mean, well, the headsets, we weren't allowed to use it, so all we had was earphones, and we basically had to hear what the commentators were saying and what the crowd was saying as well. That's pretty much why we heard the crowd in the first place.
It's a good thing you didn't throw shade on any of you guys. Like, oh, dude really messed up on that play. You're sitting there, you're like, hey, shut up.
I mean, well, I guess that's one thing that I could say that was a problem with the games, because it's that, it's great and all that the crowd is going wild. I mean, the crowd loved every moment of it, but it's that when they did cheer on a team, and it sucks when it's the other team, because it's just like, damn, I'm trying to call out and say something to you, but I can't because these people are too damn loud. Like.
But yeah, overall, how did you actually interact with any of the people who were in the spectators? Were there some people who were fans of yours?
There was a lot of people who were invited there. There was a lot of media and press, and after it, we were somewhat. When I remember Sendel being interviewed by like this Portuguese like media outlet. There was like some sort of article about their or interview video somewhere. Don't really know where the links are, but there was a lot of press. There was a lot of media. There was actually some guy. I'm not actually like. Really high up somewhere in Nintendo who was watching as well, and he told me that he really likes my video as well, by the way. I was just like, yeah, right. But yeah, there was a lot of people who were somewhat invited there. So could you imagine? I'm just saying, if they liked it that much, could you imagine if like you have real spectators of people who love this game?
Yeah, it'd be great. I mean, that's definitely where we all want to end up. I'm assuming. I hope that's where everyone kind of wants to go with this. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting to know that that's what it is. How did this compare to, let's say, like Smash? Well, not Smash and Splash, but like the other LAN events that Endgame held, and also the British Splatdown. Like, were there differences? Did this feel more? How would you say? Would this feel more like the right path to go for like competitive play? Like I know that the Inkstorms are like really great to go for like the experience of meeting everyone, but would you say that this is like the best event you've been to for the competitive side of it, at least?
Definitely. Like Inkstorm, wait, no, not Inkstorm, Squidstorm and Don't Park It Grass. Don't get me wrong, they were a ton of fun. Like I had more fun playing in those lands more than I had with the, ESL and Great British Battle Off. But in terms of competitive, the feeling of playing as a competitive player, it definitely gets you there because you have the audience screaming and shouting you out as well. I mean, I could talk to you about a little bit about the Great British Battles as well. Personally, I felt that was a little bit better just because of you had the soundproof booths, which felt really good because the crowd. You can't hear the crowd, of course. But,
Yeah.
they were, from when I watched the stream back, they were doing exactly what the ESL crowd was doing, and of course in the Great British Battle as well, there was actually a huge crowd of spectators as well. So, I mean, the feeling of playing competitive, definitely that's the right path to go with ESL.
Awesome. So I guess I have about one more question for you, and then we can talk to Blake and Bryan about how they felt about watching the event. But how did it feel meeting all the players like Creme Fraiche, Extermination, like of all different ages, right? Like I know that we're all like 18 plus, but like a lot of those players were like, you could tell they were like 15, 16. Like how was it meeting everyone for the first time? Finally seeing all their faces.
Like, it's very, very interesting because it's like, I guess with Squidstorm and Don't Power Grass, like there's like a major difference. Like it feels the same way. It's just like, yo, I've been talking to you on Discord for how many hours, and I finally have a face to put up. But with the EU side, considering that I'm also from Britain and I speak English, there's a lot of like different languages that go on. Of course, a lot of people also speak English, but like there's a huge amount of languages, which I just feel was pretty awesome, honestly. But like it was very nice to see, the other side of the Splatoon community. It's very. I mean, I got faces of my own teammates now. I got Soren's face. I mean, I already knew what Nike looked like. Sendel surprised me the most. Like I had a vision of what Sendel may have looked like, but then the first time I see him, I was just like, damn.
I think everyone was excited to see Sendo, and when he revealed, everyone was just like, "Oh my god, it's Sendo!" I like the Twitch chat went crazy. They're like, "Oh my god, it's Sendo!" So
like,
yeah,
what?
but yeah,
It's like
it sounds awesome. I'm glad that you could share this experience with us because it's definitely something that we can look forward to. I mean, I'm sure when we were all watching it, we were super stoked about how it looked. Like just the layout of it was so impressive. Like they really nailed the feel of like, I don't know, like competitive Splatoon in that sense, at least on the actual environment scale. But Bryan and Blake, how did you guys feel about actually watching the event itself?
I didn't really catch a lot of it, but with the stuff I did catch, it was pretty, yeah, it was pretty hype. And like knowing that it's this kind of like huge event kind of like stirred that up. And, as much as I continued watching it, like the more I got like intrigued. Like I usually watch like regular Splatoon streams and stuff like that, but like this one was a lot different, mostly because you could understand like what kind of setting it was in, and it was really nice to see like all that stuff and seeing that Splatoon's getting bigger and stuff like that. So really cool, really.
And you, Blake?
I definitely enjoyed the production. I also really liked the 8 point of view setup that they had. One thing that foretelling for the future for Splatoon 2's spectator mode, which has that same kind of feel of being able to see all 8 point of views at any given time and being able to have that for future casts. How rather jarring it is and how very fast-paced Splatoon gets, cutting to someone right after they die to the next person, only to immediately see them die as well, to cut to the next person, and it just becomes this chain until you eventually land on someone who's alive enough and is making the plays. Repeat the cycle a little bit. And that's going to be an interesting hurdle for how competitive play goes moving forward. and that kind of camera work and how that all comes into play.
Yeah, actually, I want to touch on that with the spectator mode in particular that they had, because the 8-player. I agree with you. I thought it was pretty jarring. I thought it was very confusing to watch compared to the 1-player. I think that's kind of why we never, at least us as broadcasters, we never tried to go more into different perspective, because it was just too difficult and it's too fast paced. Like, you can't keep track of the game. But not only that, so for Splatoon, they only have 2 open spectator spots, right? So that means that at least one of the commentators has to be the one also doing the map work, which seems like a lot. Like, you're going to have people who are really skilled at managing both speaking and controlling the map at the same time. So it's going to have to be really specialized, I find.
Well, they don't necessarily have to be commentating, but you'll definitely have to be a dedicated person in that spot, someone who is good at managing that flow. One thing that the spectator mode for Splatoon 2 does have on it is it has that rubber banding effect. So whenever you go from one point of view and shift to the next one, it has that smoother transition as opposed to the more switch camera from 2 to 4, where you get an immediate snap into a new point of view as opposed to a smoother transition. Because one thing you could do, of course, is just go from player just died, overview, to next player, which would look a bit smoother than what they're able to do and the tools available to them now. Yeah.
All right. I guess my next question is that, so other than the actual broadcasting itself, how did you guys feel about the actual, well, first let's get into, how did you feel about the actual commentating of the matches? How did you guys feel about the quality of it? Because I know it's all like high production quality, but I mean, it doesn't mean that there's things that wouldn't either need to be improved or not. So is there anything that you see need improving, or how did you guys feel about casting? How did you feel about the matches themselves?
Well, I guess the one thing I could think of is, like, it didn't really feel, I guess, because, you know, when we, like, commentate stuff in this game, you know, it's kind of like a more familiar kind of feel, because you know the people that are commentating. Usually you know their faces around. I guess, like, the one thing that kind of threw me off was that it didn't really give me off that, like, familiar feel that I'm really used to, but it still was good casting. Like, I liked, you know, listening to it, but other than that, that was just kind of like, just threw me off a little, because I didn't really expect to kind of hear that kind of thing. That makes sense.
I gotta say one thing, that I had saved Bowie, or the guy with the beard, basically. Basically, before, I think about 3 days ago, he contacted myself, and I basically taught him Splatoon, like all the terminology, just so he wouldn't mess up. And I was so proud just to see him just use the terminology. I was just like, yo, there were things that like happened in the games that I was just like, yo, I told him that.
I mean, you could definitely tell that they learned beforehand, at least how like the mechanics of the game worked, at least on that end. But yeah, Blake, go ahead. What were you gonna say about it?
Oh, I was just going to say, with that, it makes a lot of sense, because one thing I noticed during a lot of the commentary, they talked about Dude a lot, even when Dude wasn't playing. It would always be, you know, small bit of information about the game, small plug about Dude, little bit of information about the game. Says Dude. That makes sense. If Dude as a mentor, that it all comes together.
Yeah, we had a conversation, I guess, about a little bit about myself beforehand, but I did tell him about, you know, this is the best griffer. Lean is like probably one of the best griffers in the world. Savage is an amazing Turnatech player. Imagine's a great Rapid Blaster. Sabal's on Rising Moon. He's a captain of Rising Moon. You know, I told him like basically everything about the teams, and my mom is back. So what they called? Yeah, I basically taught him how to Splatoon, what is the community like, what, you know, everything. I mean, I guess he resorted mainly to me because like I've known him since a long time. So
great. I mean, overall, I thought it was pretty good. It was a good entry into it. I think like it would have been maybe a little bit improved if they had someone who's a little bit more analytical on the side, because everything felt like it was appealing to not enough of a casual audience, because they were trying to get us in on it, but it wasn't engaging enough for the competitive community to kind of go. It was like in that weird state. I think it works in some points and it didn't work in some points, but like I'm super excited to see how it'll go going forward. You know what I mean? Like this is just the beginning of what it is. So yeah, I was super stoked about it. So before we close up on ESL, I want to just go through one thing, just the matches. So how'd you guys feel about Rising Moon winning? I know Dude could probably talk about it a little bit more since, you know, he actually played in it in the finals, but yeah, like how do you feel about Rising Moon? How do you feel about them winning? Do you think that them being at the LAN had an advantage to anything? Do you think they're just this team that's excelling now that they've gone past ESL? Like, I just want to know your thoughts on the whole games that were played.
Like, I would say Rising Moon definitely deserved it because, like, at the very end of like the ESL qualifiers, Jesus Christ, sorry. At the end of the like ESL, not the ESL qualifiers, like the ESL Europe Cups, like weeks before, like it was basically them winning every single time, and they practice a lot. Like you see them practice like at least 4 hours, 5 hours a day, every single day. Like some of the players on there have like 4,000 hours playtime, 5,000. It's double what we've been playing, and definitely it's showing in their gameplay. And of course, like losing to them, of course, I'm disappointing. But like I can definitely say it's that they've practiced it a lot, and they definitely deserve that win. But saying that, I'd say the 4 teams that were there, like Extermination, Creme Fraiche, myself, or Team Buy, or which is no Team Olive now, I guess.
Yeah.
It's more of like, you know, us 4 that. It could be any of us because there are times where Team Olive always lose against Creme Fraiche. There are times where Creme Fraiche beats Extermination, and then Extermination beats Creme Fraiche. There are times that we beat Creme Fraiche. There are times where it's basically a square. Like,
Yeah, it's a back and forth game. But yeah,
yeah.
I definitely agree with your sentiment. I think Rising Moon is definitely excelling right now, getting to the top. Definitely showing what they have going forward. I guess it's just unexpected because we know all the teams of like Buy, Creme Fraiche, Extermination. We've been hearing them so long, right? And Rising Moon is just kind of slowly creeping up and starting to take everything. So it's just interesting to see that new dynamic going forward.
It's because of the disband of Cooper Clan. Because as you see, like you have what's it called? You have Creme Fraiche, Kiva. Instantly starts to like Creme Fraiche starts getting better so much faster. And you have Rising Moon, 2 Cooper Clan players. Rising Moon comes out of nowhere, and you have Team Olive, Soren, comes out of nowhere. I mean, Extermination were already good, but these 3 teams just excelled out of nowhere.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess that'll wrap up our coverage, at least for ESL. I think we covered enough on that. And let's go right into the U.S. Open of Splatoon. That's going to happen on April 22nd. It's the preliminary. And then after the next week after that is the final 16. The format, just so that everyone knows, is that it's turf war for the preliminary matches, and then the top 16 is every single round that goes by is a different mode. I believe it goes zones, tower, and then rainmaker for the finals. So yeah, that's happening next week. Prizes are a Nintendo Switch and a trip to E3. So how does everyone feel about this tournament hosted by Battlefy and Nintendo?
I mean, I'm super hyped. It's great. One thing I found very amusing, because in addition to all that, it's U.S. only, as implied by the name, as well as being 18 and up, which is based on just the teams that are showing up in the roster, small subset of our community, and watching teams scramble and reforming and getting somewhat similar to what you're used to seeing, and just knowing that everyone's all 18 and up has been an interesting play, and it just kind of shows that there's a lot of players who are on both sides of that fence, and it's very kind of divisive. The same kind of turnout if it was 18 and younger, and would have that same kind of feel of teams kind of scrambling and reforming to create new cohesive teams coming together.
Yeah. How about you, Bryan? How do you feel about going to the event? I know that you're from the U.S. as well, so I'm assuming you're competing in it.
Yeah. Yeah, my team signed up for it. I think going off what Blex said, I think that it is pretty interesting to see like all these teams just I bet like a lot of people probably didn't even know that I was over 18, seeing the way I act usually. But usually, like our team actually happened to be like all 18 up in players, like 18 plus players. Surprisingly, I didn't really expect that, and I don't think a lot of teams can like say that they have like that kind of thing. So we didn't really experience the kind of scrambling for players that a lot of teams did, because we just only thing we did experience was like choosing who was gonna play, because that was a little harder because the prizes are kind of out there. Like
They're pretty
everyone wants
good.
the prize. Yeah.
Everyone wants a
So,
trip to E3, man.
Free trip to California, nothing else.
basically what we decided is like if we win, I'm just gonna give my Switch away to like one of our teammates or something like that, because yeah, that's basically why I'm playing, just to like try to win a Switch from my friend. But other than that, like I think the prizes are just like insane. Like I've never seen prizes like that high level prize, especially like definitely the trip to E3. It's like $1,200 for like a hotel and the trip, I'm pretty sure, and that's just crazy to me. Personally, I don't really need the trip to E3 because it's like right next to me. I live in Southern California. So,
He just opens his front door and goes, "Oh look, the convention's right here."
Yeah, so like I think it's pretty neat that I live by it. So I don't know, it's definitely a lot more hype. I think the format's pretty jank, honestly. Like Turf War, I guess like it's more popular among like, I guess consider like towards like the casual scene and the competitive scene. Like you don't see Turf War at all on the competitive, like maybe like for one or two gimmick tournaments, but Turf War definitely is more appealing to like the left of the spectrum. Casual being the far left and Super Code be the far right. And I guess that's okay. Turf War can go both ways, and there's probably going to be a lot of upsets due to like kind of mode Turf War is, but definitely looking forward to it. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, sounds pretty exciting. But yeah, actually, that brings up a good point. How does everyone feel about Turf War being the beginning? I mean, I could see why they do it because of the casual aspect. It brings in more entrants, and obviously you want more people to enter this tournament for the turnout, right? So I understand why they did Turf War, but how does everyone personally feel about Turf War as a mode for this type of prize? I mean, everyone can chime in on this. I don't think it's specific to anyone who's actually playing in the tournament. So, yeah, like, what do you guys feel like, Dude and Blake?
I feel like it's going to be a lot like Splatfest, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of money on the line. So it's going to be a lot of interesting walks of life as far as internet connections are concerned, at least for the initial round, where there will be a lot of teams who have at least put forth some effort of making sure they have a constant, stable connection, and then you'll have those, as Bryan said, on the left, who may not have, and who have dusted off their Wii U's after seeing the Nintendo Direct and have formed a team with their friends tournament with hopes to win, and they have done interesting things with their connection, possibly near a microwave or in their basement. And we'll get that same kind of feel that we had in Splatfest, where chaos is just reigning throughout most of it. So I am really looking forward to the fact that it's best of 5. If it were Turf War, I'm not sure if I would be willing to put myself through that.
I think you could probably like see who's like on the left of the spectrum, to the right, based on like how much, like, let's say quick respawn they run, or how much like invincibilities they run on their team. Because I feel like some team's gonna be out there just using like quad zimmy, just kind of going around and just like the cheesing everything.
No, you're gonna see a team with all first names. Like it's gonna be like Jack and Tim and Dave
and Mom
and Mom, and they're all just having like splatter shots with burst bombs, trying to be Hitzel, you know, getting some special saver and ink saver main all together with no leveled up abilities. That's when you know.
You have that. You have that one guy with the beginner ability with ink recovery, special saver, quick response. That is it. Bought the Wii U today. Right?
I bought it because I'm gonna win that trip to E3, guys.
Went to my local pawn shop and got a Wii U for $20.
So actually, coming. Yeah, no, go ahead, Bryan. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, like, I think the main appeal for like teams to sign up is definitely the prizes. I don't think like people would be necessarily playing it for fun. I guess they could say they are, but I'm pretty sure everyone's just gonna be playing just for that prize. Like, And like even like first, second, and third and fourth get prizes. So it's still like a lot to achieve. But yeah, definitely a lot of people.
Yeah, I want to touch a little bit on that prize first, but before that, I want to say, dude, do you feel a little bit gypped that you don't get that trip to E3? Australia's offering it. I mean,
I'm not. I don't think I'm allowed to say. Sorry.
oh, I see what's going on here.
Things, but I'm not allowed to say.
My mouth is sealed. I won't mention anything. But yes, okay, so then actually that brings me to my next topic that I was going to bring up. They keep offering these events to go to E3 in the US and Australia. Why no Canada, Nintendo? Come on, bring it to Canada. Me and DeBoss, we're going to win the whole thing. We know we are. But regardless, but in all honesty, do you guys think that there's a big event going on at the Nintendo LAN event? Do you think they're hosting a LAN event at E3? Because they're bringing Australian people from Dude's questionable answer, potentially Europe, and United States.
I think you can put the pieces together.
What pieces? I don't know what you're talking about.
Don't worry.
So they're obviously bringing people to events, and it seems like there's more than one team. I'm assuming it has something to do with Splatoon 2, as Splatoon 2 is going to come out after E3. Do you guys think there's some event going on, some like big Master Championship tournament? And on top of that, wouldn't that give incentive for competitive players to want to win this thing more, as it gives you that exposure? You are the first competitive players to be shown in a tournament spotlight. So I think that adds like a huge effect. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I'm definitely think they're up to something. Seeing that like they're just getting different countries and stuff to like come to this E3 event. Like I'm pretty sure like there's gonna be a huge thing going on, and I don't know. I don't know if I'd be part of it, honestly, but definitely would love to see like just kind of how it turns out.
Considering it's probably E3, well, considering it is E3, well, I'm predicting it's probably going to be this something similar in ESL, where they did like a show match of Splatoon 2, but in this time around, they're maybe around June they're going to say, oh look, there's another map around E3, and they're just going to do a show match of showing this match. And they might even add ranked mode to it as well, just to say, yo, this is ranked mode as well. Like, we have that, we got all these modes. We've got tower control, we've got splat zones, we've got Rainmaker, and we have this other mode that we aren't talking about. But, it could be like a big show match thing. And it could be like broadcasted. I don't know. I mean, that's just my prediction of it.
Yeah.
With all the countries and stuff.
I just think it's exciting because it shows that they're really trying to get that competitive start going out.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, hello? Yeah, I'm here.
I think Cryptic might have died.
No?
I see Spoon.
What happened?
I don't know. I'm still here.
He died for you, Bryan.
Let me join. Let me rejoin him real quick.
So speaking on top of the event, sorry about that. So yeah, how do you guys feel about Nintendo? It seems like they're really trying to push forward for that Splatoon 2 competitive side of things, especially since the E3 event. How do you guys feel that you could potentially be the first faces of Splatoon?
It's definitely exciting. I am reserved in that there could be a lot of potential for it to go crash and burn, just from pushing too hard to be competitive, and by pushing too hard, it turns people away. So I see a lot of opportunity, but I'm still hesitant to get just yet. I think a lot of that will change should there be a big event at E3, like a small miniature tournament or a show match like Dude and Bryan were saying. It's nothing else is going to be very exciting to see how it unfolds, regardless of what it is that they do, because it seems that they are very excited about, and I think it's great.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I'm just really excited about everything so far. All the LAN events that are happening, all these big tournaments, US Open with all these prizes. Like, it seems like they're really starting to gear up and try and push people to actually play in the tournaments. So I'm really excited to see that. And I'm also excited that Nintendo's not just putting it all on themselves to do it. They seem to actually be reaching out to people. Like, for example, dude, you said that people are contacting you. I would say that we've also had similar experiences, and other players have as well. An ESL being contacted from Nintendo. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like it's not just Nintendo trying to put it all on themselves. They're like, we're going to go to the people who we think are actually capable of running these things, and I think that's a good step in the right direction for them. So, yeah. So I think that about covers at least all of our tournament talk for now. I think we're going to get into the more of the exciting stuff that everyone seems to want to talk about. And that's going to be the Nintendo Direct, or at least the Splatoon side of it. So if everyone watched the Splatoon Direct, we all know that there is a horde mode, I guess is the best way to call it. What's it called in this one?
Salmon Run.
Salmon Run. So Salmon Run was announced. And for those of you who don't know, Salmon Run is where it's basically waves of, I don't know, defected salmon from radiation come at you with their
Zombies.
babies' eggs, and you have to take their eggs because it gives you power. Like, it sounds very demented for a
trade it
kid's
in
game.
for something in the shop, yeah.
Yeah.
For some form of upgrade.
Some form of upgrade. You trade someone's kids. I don't know. I mean, I'm really interested in the mode. What are you guys' thoughts on the Salmon Run that they've announced?
The first thing... Oh.
Oh, you can go. You go.
Okay. The first thing I noticed was, like, that reminded me of it was, like, have you ever played, like, Call of Duty, like, the zombie mode? Like, zombies, if you've heard of that? Like, that's, like, the first thing it reminded me of, like, horde, like a horde mode. Just, like, you eventually just get all these hordes of, like, salmon or chums, or I think they're called chums or something. And then they eventually just, like, the levels increase in difficulty, and you just kind of keep going for as many rounds as you can until you all die, basically. And that's kind of intrigues me because it's, like, I think that's going to be, like, a new kind of multiplayer mode. Like, it's going to be, like, the mode you play with. Like, that's how it's going to be. You know, you use the Switch, you get the controllers, you're giving them everyone, stuff like that. I think that's going to be the mode that, like, allows the Switch to become, like, I guess, more multiplayer and mobile and stuff like that with people around you.
Yeah,
and definitely if it was online, that'd be cool.
You're saying keeping people engaged in the game for longer. Like, if you're not interested in the competitive aspect, you have this horde mode with friends to play, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, dude? What do you think so far about the Salmon Run from what we've seen so far?
Yeah, like straight up what Bryan had just said, like it gave me the I mean I get a little bit of backstory. Like I used to be a whiz at Zombies Black Ops 1 King of the Totem. Greatest map ever made. Greatest Zombies map ever made. It was amazing, so much fun. But like I had the same feel, and I just feel like one thing that probably will happen is that I don't want the community to split, but like, well, I don't think it's going to split, but I feel like there's going to be a community based around Salmon Run, just saying, yo, what's the best way to hoard salmon and stuff like that, and what's the way to, you know, I guess train, which is the term, like, you basically train, not train as in like, yo, I'm training in the gym, but like train as in like a train's coming at you. But it's like, I feel like there's going to be some sort of community with it, just to say what's the best way to hoard and get all these salmon that are coming at you. Now, with that, it really depends of how much how much support's behind it. Like, if it's just the thing where it's just one map, it's not going to be the greatest thing, like, because eventually it'll get boring. So I feel like if they're going to push this, have at least 5 maps at the very end of Splatoon 2's lifespan where, you know, and maybe it's a little bit more of a dynamic map, like maybe even a bigger map, because from seeing of what they showed in the Splatoon 2 Direct, The map isn't even that big. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
It's
each
real
side is
tiny.
yeah.
So yeah, actually, well, Blake, before I chime in, what are your thoughts on the Salmon Run so far from what you've seen?
I am super excited. I do have a lot of expectations that it does have that unlimited mode as well as the increasing difficulty. I really hope that they carry that over from other games that have implemented horde modes. Um, and if that is the case, I really hope for the ability to enter it in as solo, as that, in my opinion, will be a much better than what we currently have available. A lot of moving targets as well as increasing difficulty of moving targets where you can just keep practicing your aiming, practicing your positioning, constantly moving around and have something that's actively trying to attack you, but being able to do it just going in against bots and grinding out your aiming, your strafing, that will be momentous, in my opinion, for pushing forward high-level skill play.
Yeah. Not only that, I'd also like to say that I think this is actually a good way to actually get casual people to, let's say, talk with us. Like, I could see, for example, if we don't want to play in a scrim or you don't want to play a competitive match, you can have some viewers on your stream be like, hey, give me your NIDs, let's play some Horde Run, you know? Because I know a lot of people don't want to play with a lot of the casual, like, I don't want to say casual, but like, that's what it is, like the casual market of people who just want to watch because let's say people are just people just want to win sometimes, right? So this opens it up where it's like, hey, I can just play this thing against enemies, have a good time with my friends. It's a good way to like kick back and just enjoy yourself. I think also as well, if they allow you to unlock your clothing gear with this too, that's amazing. Like the amount of stuff you can do to try and like hoard points with this. I don't know. It's a really good alternative if they do add that. Like, I'd love to abuse this system and just get all my gear done through horde mode. I'd love that.
Can't wait for like all the at here +1 for horde mode or Salmon Run.
Yeah, unless you can go in solo. Don't even have to acknowledge anyone else. Just go.
So-
Write it out all by yourself.
As a side note to this, is that I personally believe that this was actually supposed to be sharks, but they just couldn't somehow implement it
God.
properly to get it because Rise of the Sharks is the real name of Splatoon 2. They just could never figure out how to actually implement it. So they were like, yeah, we'll make a shark mode. And then they realized that the sharks doesn't make any sense. And they're like, well, they look kind of like salmon, the ones we've created. So they just called it Salmon Run instead.
By George, we've got it.
Just my opinion. I don't know. So yeah, anything you guys want to add in particular to the Salmon Run? That was the only thing they really talked about beside the amiibo. But I mean, we're not really gonna get into that too much. But unless you want to add something to
That's
it.
pretty neat.
What do you think about like the golden eggs or whatever that they drop? Like, do you think that'd just be in addition to like the gear system? Because like I've noticed they talked about like, you know, just like adding like certain slots to your gear. You like unlike I mean taking away certain slots from your gear. Do you think like the golden eggs would be like in tandem with that kind of system in Splatoon? Like I'm like that's what I'm kind of thinking.
I mean,
I
I think the golden eggs will just be like, I think those will be in game to upgrade your skills in the actual mode itself. Like if it's unlimited mode, like what I think it'll be is like, for example, you'll get a power up where you get like, you don't have to go into ink to get more ink, or you get like this crazy bomb rush or something. And I think that's what the gold ones will go for, is like those emergency specials. Like in the single player, you know, you can upgrade your gun to have like a crazy fire rate. I think it'll be like those kinds of things. And then afterwards, depending on how far you get, that accumulates points for your gear or unlocks like certain things. But I don't think it'll give you a special type of gear unlock. Or my other option is that they might give you gear that is specific for that mode. So they give you more overpowered stuff. Like I know everyone's talking about that double QR, that double QR main, you know, that everyone is really not happy about. But maybe that's only specific to the Horde mode. Like that clothing is for that mode. And they make the things extra overpowered because that's the fun part of it, right? Like that's where they're trying to make the crazy overpowered stuff, and maybe they're trying to balance the multiplayer a little bit more evenly. I don't know. That's my takes from it, just from looking at it at a glance. So,
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That, double quick respawn would make a lot of sense in a horde mode,
Yeah.
and not for
Well,
multiplayer.
wait, I'm just saying because like if from what I saw is that everyone was wearing the same thing, so would gear even apply?
Well, from what it looks like is when they were showing it off, they kind of had like gear below it. I'm not sure if the gear would apply. That's a good question. I mean, there's a lot of things we just don't know, right? I
Yeah.
think maybe you can adjust your gear and everyone gets that like garb that goes over your gear. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might just
Did I go?
stay. I don't know. Yeah, yeah, I can't
Um,
really answer. It's too unknown right now.
like what's it called? Why I don't feel like that might be the case of like maybe double quick respawn being a thing is because that like when you die, you'd like you'd have to shoot the person for you to actually come back in itself.
Oh, that's
So
true.
that's yeah. But yeah.
I guess
But
we'll find out.
yeah. One thing I do want to mention though is that if they are going to have this horde mode, at least allow people to play on their own as well, because that it gives you another thing to play and have internet connection and stuff like that. So like
Very
if your
true.
internet is out, you got some horde mode there. So
Yeah. So quick thing just before we wrap up the Splatoon Direct. I mean, I know it was really small. Also, the amiibo. The one thing I thought was really cool about it was that you can take a gear set and bring it over. So I think they designed this with the intent of us actually going to events and having a preset gear that we can load in without having to bring our switches, which is pretty cool, actually, if you think about it. Because it means, like, let's say if Nintendo's like, we won't allow you to use your console, you can at least bring the amiibo, tap it, put at least one gear set that you know is your gear set, and let that go through at minimum, you know? So yeah,
damn
Yeah,
it,
I
I
think
have to
that'd be
buy
cool.
an amiibo.
yeah. Basically, it's telling you to buy an amiibo. If you're gonna go to a LAN, buy an amiibo.
Yeah, but it's all the old Splatoon 1 amiibos work as well. So you got all those, you still have them.
But
Damn
do
it,
those
didn't
do
buy
the
those.
transfer thing as well?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they do.
I mentioned that in part of the direct.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. All right, so we have a little bit of time here. We're going to go into a couple of viewer questions. We received a lot. A lot of them seem to be tailored a little bit to Dude as well. So I'll see which ones we go through. We're not going to answer all of them, unfortunately, because there's just too many. I really didn't expect you guys. Thank you for all the support, for all the questions. But won't be able to answer them all, but I will get through a bunch. So just give me a second here. Let me open up the questions so we can get right into it. So yeah, we have, let me just pull this up here. Oh my god, for some reason my system is completely dying. So we have one from Mr. Bryan, or Alpaki Jesus over here on the bottom right. And he asks, what's your guys' opinion on no confirmed invincibilities being available in Splatoon 2?
Oh wait, was that for me?
It's
Sorry.
for
Yeah,
everyone.
whoever wants to take it first.
Yeah, I don't want to answer my own question, so
Yeah, so
I'll jump in.
yeah, we'll
I
start
missed
with Blake.
it. I'm sorry.
Okay, so what's your guys' opinion on no confirmed invincibilities being available in Splatoon 2? So for the moment, there's no invincible specials. How does
So
everyone feel
I-
about that?
I've talked about this a few times on stream, especially after the test fires. I am super excited. I couldn't be more stoked with the lack of invincibilities, and even more so how thoroughly stoked I am that all of the invincibilities shown thus far are Volt Splashdown. If you time it right, you can smack them right out of the air. How good does that feel, seeing impending death come down on you and you say no? And that those kinds of plays are going to be so much fun to have in a competitive setting when you're playing against people who are really trying to position in a way that they know that they're vulnerable now, so they are going to try to compensate for those vulnerabilities and be sneaky. And it's going to, I'm just so amped about this. It's going to be so exciting seeing that high-level play of people trying to get around that vulnerabilities to make us that way specials are still useful. But at the same time, the specials are not overwhelming enough that you don't have to use them. So even if you have a special build, you can go the entire match without using it, and it'd be okay. Whereas in Splatoon 1, that's very bad. If you have a pocket bubble the entire match, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah. How about you, dude? How do you feel about this?
I like this a lot. Like,
Whoa, hold on. You're like a fan, man. You say something. Okay, hold on. I think you'll have to just close out the call. I'll add you back in again.
Damn, dude.
Hello?
hello?
Oh, you sound way
Are we
better.
back?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're back. So, so how do you feel about it, dude?
I'm like really excited about it as well. Mainly because it's just that now you have to use your weapon. If you want to succeed, the majority of the time you have to use the skill of your weapon, and it's not like I have a Kraken. I'm just gonna walk in and kill everyone. I don't have the best gun skill, but I have a Kraken, and I can just jump around and get 3 kills. It's definitely Kraken and stuff like that. It's very fun, but it sucks when you're on the other end, and also in things where in solo queue and squads or basically online play, when you're going against somebody with a Kraken and then you hit him 3 times with a 10 attack, with full damage up 10 attack, and you hit him 3 times and they don't die, and they Kraken after, it's just it hurts so much. And knowing that's not going to be a
Your
thing,
whole will is broken after that. You can't play any more games. You just go in bed, take a
Exactly.
nap, reflect on the Kraken in your dreams. You know.
it's like,
We call those nightmares.
So yeah,
I
I'm.
think,
Go ahead, Brian.
oh yeah, I was like things going off of like dude said. There's like legit builds in Splatoon that's like, it's meant like before you go inside like the middle of the map. There's like builds that legit, you build up Kraken before you go in there, and then you just use that to just kind of push around. Like it's just like knowing that that's not there, and you just have to like kind of more rely on your gun skill rather than like, let me just pop this panic Kraken over here, and yeah. That's like a lot more reassuring. Definitely gonna be a lot more fun, and definitely like shooting them 3 times with the 10 attack. That's really relatable, and then they just pop a Kraken, So
Yeah, I mean, I think we agree. I mean, this is kind of biased because me and Blake ran BNS where we literally banned invincibilities and quick respawn. So I think it's safe for us to say that we're completely okay with no invincibilities, right? So that's my say on it. Is I'm happy. I think no invincibilities equals better skill, better plays. It always shows the more dominant player. It just leaves less room for like a buffer of safe zone because you made a mistake. You should be punished for a mistake. So that's how I feel about that, and I think it's a really good change that they're going in that direction. It feels like they're listening to us, and when we say like these things don't have a place, really. Like there has to be some vulnerability. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. Thank you for the question, Brian. Everyone go file him at Bryan Splatoon. So yeah, so we'll get to another question over here. Hold on, I have another good one. So how much of the game do you think will be available at launch? Like maps, modes, weapons, etc. This is Katetsu Riolu. Go follow him, guys, on Twitter. He's a cool guy. So yeah, so how much of the game do you think will be available at launch? Will it be similar to Splatoon 1, or do you think there will be more stuff right off the bat? And do you think how long do you think that plan will last?
I think that. Oh, you can go ahead. You can. Yeah, you got it.
All right. I think that map-wise, we'll see a very similar trend, just a few handful of maps. I do think that we will have both the Salmon Run, some form of local co-op mode as well, something, Joe, as well as, of course, Turf War, and possibly one ranked mode, as well as private battles. Like, it'll be everything that we have now, but a much more stripped down version of it. And then as the months come out, they'll start rolling out everything again, but it won't be the same effect of what the Wii U had at private battles for a while.
Yeah, I think it'd be like basically the August update of Splatoon, like back in 2015, I think. Basically, it's just going to be that August update with like one ranked mode, private battles, Turf War, and then just kind of offline stuff, and definitely Salmon Run.
Yeah, like one thing I would think that they'll do is that they'll start off with, you have Salmon Run, you have Turf War, but they'll leave ranked mode for a bit until, I guess, a certain amount of players reach a certain level. So when ranked mode does come, what's it called? There'll be enough people to actually play.
Yeah.
Probably be an August update.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, like, what's it called? No, because when Splatoon launched, May 29th, and from what I remember, ranked came in June 5th. They released Splat Zones on June 5th. So it was like 6 days until like a certain amount of players reached, I guess, level 10. I don't know. I think that's
that way you just don't get level 10 and find out that, oh, I'm the only person who's level 10 trying to do ranked mode.
Yeah.
Get enough of a pool there so that way the lobbies don't take forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll probably be the same. No ranked mode at the beginning. They're going to unveil the modes later. They're not going to expect how many people actually get to that rank in time. And they're like, oh, we're so surprised you love our game. And then they're going to put more out for us. I do think that everything will be very limited, but I think they're going to have way more modes. I think like maybe TC and other modes won't come back, and they're going to create new modes altogether. Just seeing how like those games work. I don't know. That's my thoughts on it. It's too much speculation right now for me to really say anything that I feel certain of, other than they will roll out with very basic limited options. Turf War will be around for like the first month because they want all the competitive players to absolutely pub stomp the new players who come in for some reason. So yeah, that's definitely what's going to happen. I think they should have a ranked mode right out at the beginning, though, just so that there's a little bit of that buffer for people who already know how to play the game can hop right into ranked, and all the people who are like iffy about it can maybe stick to Turf War, and that way like the newcomers don't feel like they're going to get absolutely destroyed when like an SRB2Dude jumps into their lobby and goes like 37-0.
I think that's like also assuming that like the rank mode is going to require like have a level requirement, like, you know, because I'm pretty sure they just use like a level requirement just to like get more people to play the game, and then eventually reach level 10, like so they can release it at that time. So I'm pretty sure like they should probably just let you just jump into rank mode or Turf War and like choose between. I don't think they should like give you level requirements, seeing that there's so many people from Splatoon 1 just coming in, but you know, that just kind of separate the turf for like rank mode, stuff like that.
All right.
It would have been nice if they had some means of telling someone's going from Splatoon 1 into Splatoon 2 and using that as kind of a metric for that. Because you will have those cases of a dude coming in and pub stomping little Sally and
Oh, little Sally.
But yeah, so let's move on to the next question here. This is from Deadliest Catch, or at Flarabits. Everyone give him a follow. And the question is, would you say that it's necessary to be a certain rank to succeed in competitive? Let's throw this one to Dude right away. What do you think about this? Do you think you need to be a certain rank to be competitive? What is competitive to you? Yeah, give us your thoughts.
You have to be a certain rank to be competitive? Or
be successful in competitive.
Would you say it's necessary to be a certain rank to succeed in competitive, not just to be competitive?
I mean, what I feel like is that if you are going to play competitive, like you can be competitive, like it doesn't really matter what ranked you are, but consider if you're putting ranked into consideration, that's just going to like It's just going to tell you how well have you been playing in ranked mode, or how good have you been in ranked mode or something, or stuff like that. I mean, it doesn't really, honestly, it doesn't really even matter. Like, you can be S or A and be like the most amazing player ever, like, you know. But I mean, I would say, yeah, play ranks, of course, just to see how you can fare against better players, of course, and it can actually really tell you of where's your place in playing at a high level, how well can you play against other players and stuff like that. But it doesn't matter, like, if you're B, C, I guess if there's a D rank, then sure. But but like, rank doesn't really matter. Like, you can be competitive in either way. I mean, you know, you just need a team, honestly.
Yeah. How about you, Brian?
I think like because to succeed in competitive, it's not necessarily just yourself. Like what dude just said, you need a team for competitive. Like you could like literally never touch like ranked mode, but then you practice with like your team. Let's say on like a private battle or like a scrim and stuff like that, and you could legit be like C minus, but then like play with players of like all other ranks, and you could still do really well. You could competitive usually implies that you're like entering in tournaments and you're being more active and like screaming other teams. So ranked mode is kind of like a more isolated kind of thing. Like, oh, my team's not on. I just kind of want to chill and play some more kind of serious gameplay. So you go in ranked mode. But then usually where competitive really lies is with your teammates and how you work with your teammates. So if you want to do well, you work with your buddies and stuff like that to practice certain strats, practice certain stuff like that. So rank in itself doesn't really matter. Like what dude said, you can be legit be like A and S rank, and you could be like the best 10 attack, but usually that only applies in a competitive kind of manner if you're with your team. So depending on how your team does, like if you practice more and more with your team and like scrims and stuff like that, because you can't let's say practice like call outs and stuff like that in solo. So I'd say solos of
Well, you can. I mean, you can yell to yourself. Like, there's like, yo, someone's on the box. You're like, damn, my calls are on point, Like, you can if you really want. I mean, just throwing it out there.
I mean, you can spam come on and booyah as much as you want, but like, what really matters in competitive is like how you work well with your team. So practice more with your team, I'd say, is more and then that's going to make you successful because you can't just do it all alone. Ranked is just more isolated, kind of like, let's say I want to practice my aim and stuff like that with a new weapon or anything. But usually it's going to be with your team and with the scrim. So ranked in itself doesn't really matter. You don't have to be a certain rank. You just have to be, I guess, like a certain skill level. And ranked isn't like an accurate representation of skill level.
Okay. And how about you, Blake?
I would say yes and no. Kind of echoing what Bryan and Dude were saying. There is a rank mode, or a rank that you have that is a tangible thing that Splatoon gets you through solo queue, nebulous competitive rank that exists as well. Because you can find teams of the exact same solo queue rank, like two teams, all S plus 99, there could still be an ocean of difference in skill level between the two teams because there's still so much more that you can go from that. So the rank itself doesn't carry a lot of meaning. It does have a certain impact on the knowledge that you have of the game. So if you are, say, a B+ player and you can't escape B+, like no matter what you do, you just fall somewhere in that range, there is probably a certain degree of knowledge that you don't have yet within the game of Splatoon that you really need to succeed in competitive play. But there's that case where if you played, when Turf or Splat Zones came out, you played for a little bit, you got to B+, and then you never touched it again, and then since that day, you have spent 8 hours a day in private battles every single day, grinding out the most perfect strategies. You're going to be the equivalent of S+ infinity. And if you were to go into solo queue, you would very quickly rise up through those ranks. So they kind of go hand in hand. But a large portion of it is just that in-game knowledge that you need to find and explore yourself, and you can learn that through solo, just through private battles. But either way, there is that that work you have to put in order to get to that successful competitive level.
Yeah, I'm going to chime in and kind of agree exactly with what you were saying, Blake, is that I feel in order to be competitive, I actually think that you do need to be a certain rank to succeed in competitive. To play competitive, no, you can be an A, you can be in B, just the experience, have a great time. But I think that you should at least... I don't want to say like you should have an S plus beside your name, because there are times where I'm sure all of us have deranked back to S, and it's not like we looked at and we saw our S and went, oh no, I guess I can't play in tournaments anymore. You know, it's like it happens. What I'm trying to say is that you should have that goal in mind to reach S plus. And let's say if you can compete at that S plus level in solo, you at least know that you have your fundamentals down enough to compete at a high level. And then another level comes on with the team layer, where you have to build your team and strategies and call-outs and, you know, really try and form that synergy on that end. So I do think it does matter. At least for one, teams who are recruiting you will want to at least see that you're S plus, because it's a way to show how good you play, and it's a way to give a good buffer for people to know, like, oh, this person's A or this person's S. Because I mean, let's be real here. If one of us goes into an A lobby, I'm sure we will be number 1 on the rankings and then go back to S plus. So ranking does matter in a sense. Yes, there are outliers, like someone's an A, they only play private battles for 10,000 hours, and then they are gods of S plus, right? But I feel that's few and far between. I feel like if you're at that level where you want to play so competitively, then you already have that instinct to go into solo and try and prove it yourself that you're that good. So I don't know. I think there's a huge merit to it. I think why people say it doesn't matter so much is because once you reach S plus, there's such a huge divide in S plus skill levels that it's hard to, you know, see how much better other people are from that point. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah and no, but I'd say mostly yes. I think it does matter. So yeah.
Fair.
We got one more question here that I'm going to answer, and I think this is more of like a community content question that I think a lot of people have been trying to figure out. And I think since Dude's on here and since me and Blake have started this, I think this is a good question for all of us. And I think Bryan, I believe Yami's starting things, and I know Silver does a lot of YouTube stuff as well. So Setu, you can follow him at Setu_fishhead, says, what can the community do to get a better following / view count for Splatoon as a whole? So I'll throw this one to Bryan first, because since you're the, you're the one who I feel is the newest to any of the video content. You've made a montage for Yami recently as well. So how do you feel about what we can do to get more viewers?
Oh, wait, me?
Yeah.
Oh,
I literally said Bryan.
I didn't hear that. Well, I was thinking more because a lot of people don't really, because they like captivate an audience, like, usually like scrims and stuff like that. I guess that's not really captivating, like mostly because a lot of things that are going on, let's say you put voices in there, a lot of the call outs to like some people don't really make sense because they're not part of that kind of, I guess like to the right of the spectrum, the more competitive spectrum. They want to like see some cool plays. They want to see something really like, I guess, extraordinary. So scrims aren't really like that. Those are just kind of like, oh, these guys are just kind of playing against each other. And I'd say like probably like the least, like near the bottom. I think the most thing that get more viewers and stuff like content-wise was like either getting like guides or like a montage or something like that of kills. And mostly because you show off your like coolest plays in a montage, and like the music makes it like super cool. Doesn't necessarily like show like certain skills. It just kind of gives this image like, oh, look at these kind of cool plays. Look how cool I am, I guess. But it's not like really cocky way or anything like that. And I think that's what people want to see. They want to see like how cool Splatoon can be, and they don't want to see like raw footage. They just kind of want to see, I guess by they I mean this audience, mostly leaning to the casual side, because there's a kind of this disconnect between the competitive and casual. So definitely I've seen with like Dude's kind of videos, like his videos are very captivating because like he shows like matches that he does extremely well in, and people want to see like, let's say 25-2. They want to see like these kind of KDs. that normally they wouldn't be able to achieve. Obviously, normally usually they don't see them every day. So I think those kind of videos are what people want to see in regards to Splatoon, just cool stuff and like cool plays by certain people. So yeah.
If I might, well, if I was going to say anything of what we should do as a community is mainly that, like, I'm going to say it straight up, like, not enough peeps. Like, there are a lot of, like, scrim videos or just, yo, here's me playing Splatoon, and it's just gameplay. It's like the same video, like, everyone's posting a video on YouTube where it's just gameplay. Like, this isn't really the thing that's going to make the community grow, or it's not just gameplay. But, like, I feel if more people use their voice and maybe talk over the gameplay, talk about something, like, tell us about yourself, give us a personality that we can follow. That is very, very important in terms of actually following a scene, because like, if you think about it, let's put COD into the mix, because, like, there was a point of time where the Call of Duty competitive scene was basically non-existent until you got people like, I guess, OpticScump, Nadeshot, and stuff like that started making videos just talking about latest patching. There's a lot of YouTubers, YouTubers that do that, where they're talking, they're using their voice. Like, one thing that I see a lot from this Splatoon community is that everybody talks a lot on Twitter. Of course, it's Twitter, but everyone talks a lot on Twitter, like good stuff, like stuff that I even took into consideration about the game itself. But if they get into a video, that's content right there. That's what's going to make people follow. That's what's going to make people think, yo, this Splatoon competitive thing is actually somewhat interesting. Like, there's not enough of that, in my opinion. Like, I feel like if people make more content like that, then the community can lead into a better, like, healthier competitive scene. Like, you know.
Yeah, just fostering personalities, putting a face behind the players, like not just showing, oh look, I can shoot a 52 gal really well, but also like having your personality onto it. Yeah, no, I totally get that. Can't believe you insulted me just for putting up videos of me with some mediocre gameplay. No, I'm kidding. So Blake, what's your thoughts so far on it?
My take on it is much more on the Twitch side of things. What I think is going to be really important going forward, especially in that first month or so of the game's release, it's going to be huge. The Twitch presence that'll be there. Big YouTube names, a lot of Let's Players coming in and will be streaming, and they'll be bringing in a lot of viewers. I think during the test fire itself, I did not see a single time that the viewer count for the Splatoon game go below 18,000. And it has the potential of going much higher than that, because that was just 6 hours. So what is important to take away from that is, even though they are bringing in their own channels as their own communities, they will be people who want to explore, because you'll have Let's Players who it's their first time playing Splatoon, and it's going to look like someone it's their first time playing Splatoon, and you'll want to branch out and see what other people are doing, and competitive veteran players will have their time to shine. They'll have their small niche communities where people can come in and actually talk with the viewer, see the stream, see real high-level play, and that is the opportunity to really shine for us as our much smaller streaming community goes. So 2 big takeaways from that is be really engaging with your viewers for whoever comes in. Try to suck them in and talk to them as much as possible. That's been a big thing that I've been trying to work on. And another thing is, don't let your stream look like a potato. It doesn't matter if you can make power level plays, if no one can see it, looks bad, skid mark on the community. And I'm not saying that you need to be running at 1080p, 60 frames per second, 6,000 bit rate, like the best of the best quality, you can still look great at 480p. But if you have P and you're trying to do 1080p, it's going to look like a potato. So really strive to make your stream look as, and between now and July 21st is the perfect time to do that. Really push for making everything pretty. So that way, when someone stops by to see, competitive player from the competitive Splatoon group, what does this Splatoon look like? They leave with a happy impression. And if you can't have that high video quality, you definitely need that personality to back it up. Bring people in and keep them there. So that way you'll bring in new, fresh blood to the community. You'll have new people looking at the content that Bryan has made through his tutorial videos. You'll have people coming in through Dude as well, and it just becomes this big feedback loop of bringing in fresh people and keeping them there. And that is going to be quintessential for driving this community forward from the Twitch side of things.
Okay. So I have a couple of points I want to bring up in regards to just promotion and content, because I want to kind of piggyback off what Dude said with like Twitter is like you see a lot of conversations of like big, I would say controversial topics like, for example, is Turf War competitive? Should quick respawn be allowed? How are these things? These are great analysis videos. People can like make a research text and kind of show their arguments for it in a video with their face on it, showing different types of gameplay, showing why this is better than this, like actually have quality behind the conversation. And I feel like those types of things drives views. Like I know I've watched some of your content, Dude, and I see why it's appealing because there's so much that you talk about, like how you hold your controller is an event that a lot of people don't get to necessarily see, and a lot of people are really interested in that. I know that Spectre has also done a video about all the whale placements on maps, and she just shows off different placements on maps, and she talks about where to put them and gives her analysis on it and her take and why she does it. And like just it doesn't just show like here's a good placement, use it. She completely explains why, and I see that those are really, really popular as well. And I think that's like really good quality videos too. So I think you can't just have content. Like you can't just say we need the face. You have to put effort into the type of video you are presenting with your personality. It can't just be as simple as I'm talking over it and here's my personality. Like I'm sure I could, I'm sure me, Blake, something like that. We could all do that. We all have a personality behind us. Like I'm that out there person who talks my mind and everything like that. But I still think if I put a video out just of me talking without any type of quality behind it, it wouldn't garner any viewership. I think there has to be some substance and some really good quality behind it. I think the second thing is just do it. Like, I think so many people just talk about doing things and they don't actually push forward to try and do anything. Like, for example, when we started Black and Spoon, when we originally went for the tournament, it was just because everyone kept complaining about tournaments and complaining about not doing things properly and not having viewership. And I just kind of got tired of it. And I went to Blake and I said, hey, Blake, do you want to run a tournament and make it look nice, And he was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. And we just started running it. And then we said, well, we'll do this every week. And then it started to gain popularity, and then more people started to do it. It fostered a community that we thought was really, really cool. And I think that's a really good way to do it, is just actually put yourself out there, start making the content, actually put effort into the work you're doing, and just do it regularly. Like, actually make something of it. Don't just keep talking and talking about it. Just start doing, I think that's just a really good way to do it. I mean, when, Dude, you started your videos, I don't think you talked about it all on Twitter and then spent 10 minutes, like, thinking about it and then reposting something on Twitter. You just went to YouTube and started making the video, right?
Yeah, like basically how I used to do, how I still do things is that if I see something, I'll make a video of it, like straight up, like next day, like I just make a video straight up. Just if you're thinking of something, once it's fresh in your mind, just get out there, because like at first it's gonna be hard. Like it's gonna be like, oh man, I'm only getting like 20 views and stuff like that. No one's really watching my videos, but you gotta really like look at it as who is watching your videos right now, because from that, it will grow. People are going to talk about it. They're going to spark, like making a video that's going to spark some sort of conversation out of it or some sort of debate gets a lot of viewership in general. So it's just that, like, if you can make content about, I mean, honestly, everybody can, because they speak so much on it, about it on Twitter, like, leads for like, do that, but just in a video form, because it's what brings people in. Like,
Yeah, I think another thing I want to touch on too is I think people need to have a little bit more of a I don't want to sound condescending, but you need to have a little bit more of a business sense, because it's not just about making the videos. It's also about how you appeal and how you want to present yourself. Like, you can't just throw out videos and be like, oh, this video looks like it's okay, it'll work. You know, you have to think about how you want to be reflected and how you want to be presented. So making the content fit that type of personality you want to portray is really important too. And I think a lot of people don't think about that stuff. They're just like, I'm going to post a video because I want to do it. Like, if you look at all the people who do pretty well on YouTube, like Dude, like Silver, etc., they all talk about themselves a little bit, or they talk about their mindset going into the game, and they have a type of way they want to portray the videos going through. And similar to us here, like with this podcast, there's a certain way that we want to present the podcast. There's a certain way we want to present the type of things we're going for. We want it to be high quality, you know? So yeah, I think there's just a lot going into it to increase viewership. But I think bigger things than that, to increase viewership, is not only that, but people actually have to buy the game. Splatoon 2 has to be a popular game. We're in 2 years of Splatoon 1. I don't think you're going to get a lot of new viewers currently, but you can keep it interested and get people hyped up, so when the second game does come out, the people from the first one go, oh, look, there's Dude, there's Ink TV, there's Bryan, you know, like, these people are people who are making really good content from Splatoon 1. Go check them out for the second game. And then that will build your viewership. I think everything that everyone should be doing now is working towards that big jump that will come with the second one, and try and get people into the community from the second game.
Well put.
I can definitely see that.
All right, so any closing segments on that question? I feel like it was a little bit bigger than the other ones, but does anyone have any closing comments before we wrap up the show?
Just
Just do it. Yeah, just do it, man. Just do it.
Oh yeah. Where did this week come from?
Definitely, if you spend like less than, like, I say, like an hour editing a video, you probably shouldn't post it. Mostly because, like, unless it's like a really small video. But, like, honestly, like, when I did the first like Splatoon montage for like my team, that thing took like, I'd say, 8 hours of just like editing, like constantly just trying to like get things synced up. And like I was gonna say this, but the next video that I made, that didn't take that long at all, and I noticed like the quality difference. Like, I probably could have like done a lot better on like the second video that I made, because I spent so much time on the first video. Definitely take your time when you're making one, because I'm not really that experienced making a video, but you know, if you put effort into it, it will come out a lot better than you thought it looked. Because I honestly thought the first video I made like looked like trash, and mostly because I guess I just gotta work on myself for that. But definitely more effort into the video, more time will make it like more appealing.
Actually, just one more quick thing I want to add, and it won't be a rant. Just more. I think that you should be proud of the work you do. I think every video you should put out, you should feel happy with the video you're putting out. I mean, there's always work that you can do, but you should go out with it going, damn, I think I did a great job. I think you should always have that mindset. You should be enjoying what you're putting out as well. It shouldn't just be because you feel you should. You should enjoy doing it. So, yeah. So let's close it out. Bryan, where can we reach you? Where can we see you? Anything you want anyone to know before we close up the show?
My streams are packages837, and I'm on Twitter usually. I retweet a lot of stuff, but Bryan Splatoon. So yeah, definitely check me out.
And Dude, anything you want to plug? Any last closing comments?
First of all, thank you for having me on. And if you'd like to find myself, Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter, it's all at ThatSRB2Dude.
Great. Blake, closing comments?
Well, even though I go by many names, you can find me pretty much anywhere under just BlackSwordD2. That is the one staple that I have. Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all of it, BlackSwordD2. So, Spoon, during this podcast, we received some news. Would you like to go ahead and announce that? Regarding...
Actually, yes. We just got this in the middle. So I'll just plug myself really quickly. I'm CryptikSpoon. You can find me on Twitter at CryptikSpoon. You can find me on Twitch at CryptikSpoon. My YouTube channel's terrible. Don't look at it. I don't really focus on that kind of stuff.
If you do want to find it, check out my YouTube and you can find him on it.
Yeah. I mainly do stuff for Ink TV. We're hosting a podcast. We're going to have future interviews with players. We're planning to have a newscast. And a bigger thing is we plan to have high-quality tournaments, and we have a big announcement is that we're going to be the runs hosting the U.S. Open Splatoon preliminary tournament. We'll be streaming it for you next Saturday, so look forward to it. We have a lot of big surprises in store for you, some things that you've probably never seen before with tournaments in streaming, so... get really excited. We were really excited to take on the opportunity, so we hope that excitement goes forward on Saturday as well. So yeah, man, super excited to announce it. We'll have a teaser up soon so you guys can see what kind of content we're going to be putting out. So yeah, hope everyone enjoyed the stream, and have a good day. Happy Easter, everyone.
Bye.
See ya. Salute.